You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
This episode will be quick, but at the same time, it will convey the message for the end of 2020. I know, the project of 16 episodes about Polish handmade and how it used to be in the olden days and how it is today is over. However, I guess this format of talking to you in English is not yet over. I haven't planned for that, but I said, let's give it a go. It seems that while learning how to bring the handmade magical world into online and popularize beautiful Polish handmade all over the world, I started studying in online MBA. And on this journey, I met inspiring, incredible female entrepreneurs that keep me standing up. Yeah, I will dare to use this word. They keep me inspired. They help me stand up when I fall down and I feel tired and feel that I've got no energy to continue the podcasting project. As you might assume, it's quite tiring. It consumes lots and lots of energy and time. It totally doesn't pay off if you ask. But still, I kind of feel I cannot quit. And that's because I've got fellow lady entrepreneurs that inspire me on a daily basis. That's why I decided I'll share some inspiration with you. No matter if you're a handmade fan or you're a handmade artist starting your business, or maybe you're somewhere further away in your crafting skills and business, doesn't matter. Because I guess this mindset part about building something on your own is quite necessary. So no matter if you're just a fan or you're an entrepreneur, I think you might use this opportunity to listen to those inspiring episodes with my fellow online MBA friends who took some businesses online. Why am I using those interviews here in the podcast that is actually dedicated to handmade? Well, it seems that I wouldn't be able to convey such a strong message, so much energy that is put in each and every single episode without their inspiration. No matter if that's Lona, who took music online, or Johdi, who took movement online, or Elena, who took her stationary classes about public speaking, also online, and another guest that I will introduce later on. No matter the business, what is important, it gave us the thought that also these handmade skills, crafting skills, and handmade businesses could also be taken online. So if you're there listening to this podcast, I'll try to continue with this Friday English format, but this time I'll provide you with something from the other side of this handmade world. Something that is standing in the behind the scenes of our handmade business, inspiring people. If the previous project that was dedicated to some niched down handmade technique, if you found that interesting, I would invite you to a profile on Instagram that is called Handmade from Poland. I obviously is gonna link that down in the show notes. But what is important, you will find many more techniques that could actually inspire you and maybe serve as a gift, a handmade gift for your closest ones, for your loved ones. A gift that would actually support small Polish crafting businesses. But what is more, in this series that's going to be presented every Friday up until the end of 2020, I'm going to be talking about this content that is not only for handmade creators, but also for handmade fans. So I'll provide you with inspiring interviews, and I'll be talking about how to start the business based on handmade. It doesn't matter if you use word business or hobby. What is important to me is the fact that you join me on this mission of popularizing handmade, be it Polish handmade, traditional handmade, or just a way to chill out or relax and take our mind away from this digital world. You join forces with me by listening and sharing this podcast. So I'll invite you to this series of inspiring interviews. And if they will push you to do something more about your crafting skills, taking some of your artifacts out of the drawer, hidden somewhere outside the world to see, and you will kind of take them online, show them, make a picture, share with others, I know it was worth it. So let's give it a go. Let's try out. Let's meet every Friday up until the end of 2020. And let's see what will happen next. If you want to share your opinion or just tell me something about this podcast, give the idea for next year, I invite you to contact me by mailing me agnieszka@oplotki.pl. I'll link that down in the show notes as well. Why am I asking that? Because I hope that in 2021, this format might continue in a totally different way. Let's join forces in popularizing handmade all over. I hope you're gonna join me in this mission. So see you in next episode, and I invite you to another interview. Today, I have another interview for you. And it seems that it's so far away from our handmade world. But also, I know that Johdi gave us a really great tip. How to take care of our bodies while doing handmade. I won't tell you. You'll have to listen to the whole interview. And it's totally worth it. The idea behind this interview was to inspire you. No matter whether you're creating business based on handmade or you're just treating handmade as, this area of solace or escape of your daily job, doesn't matter. I know that for all of us, inspiration, especially in those hard times, is very needed. I wish to inspire you that no matter how hard your situation might be in those crazy times, there's always a way, and this time could be this area of opportunity. Let's just jump into this interview and get inspired by Johdi.
Okay, so let's start with another episode. I'm really laughing because I want to introduce a really great friend of mine from this online MBA thing. I just couldn't resist to, invite Johdi here because she's really a fun person who puts all the things connected with mindset and with body and how to manage both of them in such a way that, it makes everything easier. But I won't, tell you what she's doing, where she's doing, and how, because I want Johdi to introduce herself. Johdi, please tell us about yourself.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. First of all, it's really good to be here and such a privilege. I feel really special. And you've really bigged me up. So best I continue in the same vein. So I am based in Switzerland, but I'm originally from Zimbabwe, which is in Southern Africa, in case everybody's thinking, where? What did she say? So I come from one of the poorest countries in the world, and now I live in one of the richest countries of the world, which is an interesting, parallel. I started off life as a Pilates instructor, and I've been on the planet for a bit of time now. I'm in my 40s, and life gives you some knocks and some hard things. So I then started adding in mindset practices to help myself. I'm a busy mum, like you, got millions of kids everywhere. I run my own business. And so I realized that, whilst I was keeping my body up together, which is something that's come really naturally, I also had to start working on the mindset type of thing. And that didn't come very naturally. And so I've basically been perfecting these ways of helping women get their verve and vitality and va-va-voom back for, I'd say, the last four or so years. And so what I actually do now is I combine, in a unique combination, of course, mindset and movement. And I bring in the nutrition element as well. So I'm kind of like a motivator, mentor, coach, body worker, and mindset fan. And I basically take somebody who's completely cluttered and totally demotivated and just thinking, oh shit, I'm so far gone, I need a full body overhaul. And I take them and say, okay, right, let's start here. And I basically unclutter them and drive them to unstoppability.
That's so brilliant. And, even when you're introducing yourself, there's this energy like coming out of you that, you just want to do something with yourself. It's like, there's no way like sitting at the couch, eating some potato chips, like looking what you have about to say. It's like your energy is so contagious. And, I was thinking about this interview. What shall I ask her? How could I interview her? And how could I introduce her to, our lazy community of couch sitters who are like sitting and knitting and listening to podcasts or things like that? We're obviously going to be repurposing this interview into podcast. But I was curious about, how did you manage to give this energy to your clients doing that online? Because we had all this lockdown and all these things. I had those questions like how you're teaching crocheting or how you're delivering courses with handmade through online, and it was so natural to me. I bet it's so natural to you, but I guess that would be worth explaining. How do you do that through online?
Well, I think where I get quite lucky is that from being really, really tiny, I've been into movement, and it's always something that's come really naturally. And it turned out that when I was young, I had a natural talent for bits and bobs. So I was like,
you just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Valspar Ultra starts at just $29.98 a gallon. So we've got you covered when your daughter wants to paint her room again, after last year's masterpiece of a unicorn mural.
Dad, please.
Or when you realize that maybe you went too hard on the grayish.
I miss color.
Or when you were sure you wanted a home gym, but your elliptical is currently hanging your laundry.
What about a home office?
Shop everything you need for your next phase with Valspar. Available at Lowe's. Price varies by sheen.
Enough to get discovered like Beyonce, darling, by a guy who said, you should come and dive. Not water, not oxygen tank goggles, snorkel dive, but loads of somersaults off a bendy piece of wood, because of course that's the thing. Anyway, so he said to me, come and dive. And I started diving. And the thing about diving is you actually have to feel your body in space, because you're doing all of these somersaults in the air. And if you get it wrong, you either smack the water or smack the side of the pool or smack the board, and you can die. So you get pretty good pretty quick because you don't want to die. So I've always had this ability to feel my body in space. And then, because I'm quite good with words, as you can imagine, always been a bit of a chatterbox, I'm able to tell people how to discover their body in space. So I just add the communication element to something that's called proprioception, which brings me to you and your peeps, because you say that you're all couch sitters, okay, which is perfect. So I have 2 little tips that I can give your community straight off, okay? And I don't know, well, here they are. And you can say yes or no, yes and no, because I'm not into crochet or anything like that. I'm crap with my hands. Don't tell anybody, but I cannot cook or sew or anything like that. I'm a wonderful mother. I'm just not that kind of mother. Anyway, so what I would suggest to you guys is, even the laziest, most slovenly, most lethargic person on the planet can do these things. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do as a busy knitter or as a busy crocheter is don't sit on the couch, sit on the floor. Okay, so if you spread yourself out on the floor with a nice little low table, what you actually find is that your body becomes uncomfortable. And so, when you sit on the couch, you're like, I could sit here for hours and not move. And you literally do sit there for hours and don't move, because that's what couches are for. They make you so comfortable. But if you sit yourself on the floor, and I don't mean like hard, stony floor or anything like that. You can sit on a rug, you can sit on a cushion or whatever. Your body forces you to move regularly. So you have to keep changing positions to keep yourself, So that's the first thing I would say. So if you're already thinking, oh my God, she's talking to this sporty woman who's leaping and jumping every day and all I'm doing is sitting on my ass, don't panic. And then the second thing you can do is, in case you're thinking, I'm not sitting on the floor, she must be mad. I haven't sat on the floor since like 1922 and it's not going to start today, lady. Okay, so you can just stop talking. So in case you're thinking, yeah, right, I'm sticking to my couch, then all you got to do is work on how you're sitting. Okay, so the easiest way of finding your body in space is to think of your skeleton, okay? Because we can all imagine our bones, and we've all seen those pictures at school of, what a skeleton actually looks like, yeah? So if you sit on your skeleton, okay, starting with your bum, you've got bones in your bum. And I can hear everybody going, ho, 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 I haven't got any bones in my bum, it's all just fat. Well, no, chaps. Okay, we've all got bones in our bum. And what you actually find is that you have to take your pelvis from kind of this position when you're sitting on the couch to this position. Okay, so you imagine your pelvis as a bowl, then you imagine your rib cage as a bowl, and then you imagine your head as a bowl. Okay, and you want to make sure that those bowls are stacked one on top of the other. So you put your head over your chest, over your pelvis, and you immediately sit straight. Can you feel it? If you give it a quick try now, you can probably feel what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, and then all you do is think, okay, I want as much space as possible between those 3 bowls. So I want a nice level pelvis, I want a nice level rib cage, and I want a nice level skull. And then I just want to stretch the space between them. So you think of drawing the top of your head up towards your ceiling or your sky or wherever you are, and that immediately improves your sit. And actually opens up your body and your tissues to get more oxygen, and that gives you more energy, less aches and pains, and then you turn into Cindy Crawford. Easy.
Yeah.
Super easy. It's the first step to becoming a supermodel. I mean, look at me. It's all you need.
Like you walk the talk, right? Yeah, and it's really, really super cool, super easy. Yeah. Now I see, like, playing with kids in a totally different light. Like sitting on the floor really makes you, kind of move, and you don't feel that guilty that I'm playing with kids instead of going into this, massive training with a bike or something, right? If you're not that bike person. Well,
yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I could imagine how you work with people, like those tiny little things when you just like do the things that you do every day, and you can like kind of glue together with some, improvement. That really works. Yeah, now I get it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know
that's the absolute foundation of how I work, where I try and take things that you do automatically without even thinking about it and either optimize them or improve them or add on a little bit of dynamism so that you don't have to think, okay, I'm going to play with my kids and then afterwards I'm going to do my sport and then afterwards I'm going to cook dinner and then afterwards I'm going to blah, 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 blah. So you mentioned the program that we're both in, this amazing Somber program that people you should all buy, that people you should definitely all sign up to. Okay, if you're watching this video, sign up. It's amazing. You won't regret it. But anyway, if at the moment we're having to do these runway videos, which is going to make us millionaires overnight, right? Okay. And my latest Somber video is, stop being the mayor of a village and start building a skyscraper. Because like you, and probably like your audience and like me, we're also busy, and we're also busy wearing different hats. But the last thing you want is for someone to add on another hat and say, right, now you have to go for a walk for half an hour. Now you have to go and lift weights for half an hour. Now you have to go and do stretching. And that's like, oh, Jesus, I cannot. So, the idea is that you take away all of this laterality, tentacular, octopus, mum, entrepreneur, wife, blah, blah, blah. And you just stack, as you say, stack, and start building a skyscraper.
Yeah, this idea is really brilliant. And I have this impression that when we talk about this online thing, we actually met in Samba, right? So I'm really grateful because, my mind wouldn't open to that, this idea of, exercises wherever and whatever. And, when you say it, it sounds so easy. And when you think about this online, business and things, you always think of those, business coaches. That's kind of obvious, right? You never think about, somebody teaching you how to improve your sporty silhouette through online. Did you find your clients also having those results? Like, how do you do that online? Did you find that really here?
Yes and no. I think no, not really, not so much, because I just think I believe in it. I know that I can do it, and I know the results that I can get, just like you. We walk the talk, and I think it's it must have been quite similar to you, where you must have thought, bloody hell, this is quite intricate, and people really need to see, and blah 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 blah. So I think you just find ways of being really adaptable and really inventive. I think that's an entrepreneur mindset. And then you just believe and execute and stumble and fall and break your face a few times, and then you pick yourself up and carry on going, because that's what you do. And again, coming back to this online program, it's something that just gets more and more stronger and stronger, I think, is this idea of just unstoppable self-belief. And you just, I'm sure you feel the same. The transformation that takes place when you dive down into a program, or you dive into a program like this, is you're surrounded by people like you and me, who, as you say, are peers online and stuff. And you see people doing things and you just think, bloody hell, why am I sitting around thinking about this? I should just do it, So I think, to answer your question, there probably were some reserves, and there probably are still loads of people thinking, oh, that's a load of bollocks, I'm not going to sign up. And I just don't focus on them. They don't even exist on my radar.
Exactly. That's a perfect approach. Yeah, that's something that we all can take out of this conversation. Yeah, I really don't want to keep you really long, but I have like the last question that is always coming through my mind. That's like, how do you think about, working with your clients? And when you think of how you work, do you see this moment when they are ready? maybe I'll start from the beginning. It's like we had this, crisis. We were in the lockdown and people like went a bit more inwards, finally found time to, maybe sit on the couch, but really think that, yeah, I'm not that healthy. Maybe that's the perfect time to take care of my health. Did you find that this time kind of shifted something in your business, or something changed in your business or in the approach that you carry out with clients?
Yeah, very much so. Certainly, I, until very recently, had an offline business as well as the online business. And I've now stepped away totally from the offline business because I realized that I can bring just as much, if not more, to the online business, especially in terms of mindset. The movement is something, that comes, with my eyes closed, whereas this mindset piece now is starting to become bigger and bigger. And I think that's the sort of thing as well that people have, where I see an extra layer or an extra leap. People definitely are, anxious and a little bit uncertain and looking for more hand-holding, I'd say. Yeah. And I think that's where, if you can build this rapport online, which, you obviously can do. And, I think loads of people underestimate how much, just by being themselves, they can help people. That's coming into, that's starting to have a lot more weight with my clients, and certainly with me as well. I obviously had a lot of time to self-reflect and all the rest of it. And I think that's the way forward. I think people are going to increasingly reach out to people who are genuine peers rather than, people that seem like they're light years away. You and I are still extremely approachable. I'm certainly no guru, and I make no secret of that. And I think that's what people appreciate. We're just mums who've got balls and put on our good big girl pants one day and dived in, and here we are. I'm just one step ahead of you, so come and join me and I'll bring you along for the journey that I'm on. And I think that's a change that I've certainly noticed, which is exciting. I mean, I like it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the perfect thing that you mentioned, that we have this approach that we no longer want those teachers from school, like university style, that they're like unapproachable mentors. And we're like, what the hell, right? That's not me. I don't want to be that. And instead, we are looking for those inspiring people who are just like, yeah, she's just like me. If she could do it, yeah, why not me, right? And yeah, you nailed the point. That's what I really wanted to breathe out here in this interview, because it kind of walked the talk. When I look at you, it's like, yeah, I could do it. Like, if she said it's only a matter of, sitting right, why not, right? Why not try? And then suddenly you find yourself from this point where you're like, this bike, yeah, let's let it dust at the balcony, right? Not, practicing, to this point where you actually get your shit together and you actually do it, right? And that's really brilliant.
Totally.
Yeah. Thank you so much for today. It was like really a pill to swallow that is easy to swallow and implement.
Good. I'm really glad. And, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.